What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Tough Podcast. This is episode 8, I believe.
I believe so.
Yep,
I think
yep,
we're there.
yes, sir. Thank you for everybody for tuning in, continue to watch and support. We surpassed 50 subs. We was waiting on it. Very grateful for that. I was very excited.
Yes,
Um, how was everybody's Thanksgiving?
it was good.
Uh,
It was interesting.
yeah, it was nice. It was nice.
Yeah, it was cool.
It
I
was a
seen
little
Cam was
weird.
chefing. Yeah, it was
Had
different.
to, had to,
Cam
had
was
to.
Cam was on the gram chefing
Okay.
it up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Say.
nah, this year was weird, man.
Yeah. It
It
was
was weird not
strange.
seeing all my family.
Yeah. Everybody canceled their
But
Thanksgivings. I couldn't see anybody.
right,
Katie's family, she didn't get to see anybody, so that sucked.
Yeah, my younger
yeah,
brother got COVID, so I couldn't go home, which sucked.
man.
But
All right,
he's no symptoms, he's fine. But I didn't want to
yeah,
get.
it was rough, but it's all good. So today we got a special guest. This is Josh's girlfriend, Katie, right? Katie, which one do you prefer?
Katie. Yeah,
Okay,
I just keep
Katie.
Kathleen out there for professional work stuff.
Hey, I got you. So the first question we got for you is, what is it like growing up in Columbus?
I loved it. I loved it so much that I decided to stay for college. Um,
Mm,
but I grew up in German Village, which is about
Hmm.
5 minutes from downtown. And that was really great because I always had a lot of access to downtown. And I would do art classes and shows and ballet and all that. So that was pretty great. I think it's got a lot of good art culture going on. So I loved it.
gotcha.
Being in your college and everything like that. What field did you decide to go into, and what made it such a big thing for you? Like if you were in high school when you figured it out, or beforehand, what was the awakening moment that was like, I got to do this. This is what I need to do.
Okay. So I am majoring in industrial design. I am a senior right now at Columbus College of Art and Design. Industrial design is both product and transportation design. It also includes things like exhibit design and shoe design. I really liked that it was so expansive. I liked that I had so many options. I wanted something that I could, go to and not be for sure. Like I didn't want to pinpoint myself to one place. But I discovered it in high school, summer before junior year. I did the summer college program, and my roommate was going into industrial design. And I hadn't decided, and so I was like, whatever, I'll do it for 3 weeks, and if I hate it, I never have to do it again. And I fell in love with it, and it was a lot of fun. I love it now. Um, and I focus on consumer product, but I also have a minor in design research. So I do a lot of stuff like do a lot of interviews and co-creations and talking to users. Um, I was telling Josh it was really weird being on this side of the interview. Usually I'm the one doing them, so it's definitely different, but I don't mind it.
I feel like
Right.
just it's not on our question sheet or anything, but I feel like since so many other people who've been on the podcast have answered it, what was your experience like going to Bishop Hartley? You were a grade above me and Kyler at least, but was it good? Was it bad? We've had a lot of mixed opinions
All
on
right, and Cam, you
here.
can't forget it. Cam
That
cool
hurt,
with
man.
us
That one
too.
hurt. That one hurt.
Wait, you went to Hartley? I don't remember seeing you
Yeah,
there.
yeah, I was in the back. You know.
Um, I liked it. I knew I was always going to go to Hartley. I had an older brother that went there, and so I was in kind of the Hartley culture and circle pretty early on. Um, I loved it. I loved the drama department. I had a lot of fun with that. A lot of great memories. I played field hockey, and that was really great. Like I did it for 3 years, and I lettered all three, so that was cool because it's a pretty small sport. So it was pretty easy to do. But I liked it. Met Josh and all my friends. So it
That
didn't
was the
wasn't.
best part.
I mean, it was still high school, so I wouldn't go back, but it wasn't bad.
I feel you.
All right,
That's
so what made you go there? And the follow up, is it like a big school, the college you at?
Oh, CCD. So I went there because I had already decided on industrial design of what I wanted to do, and there aren't that many schools in Ohio that have it. And I didn't want to go very far. I don't like super, super long car rides, and I don't like having to do them frequently, so I wanted to be nearby. And I liked that CCED wasn't that kind of university, like it wasn't that big college, it wasn't fraternities or any of that. That I just didn't see big party culture as something that called to me and that I wanted to be in. Um, I liked that it was smaller. I liked that it was smaller classes. And the nice thing about my major is most of my classes are like 15 kids ish. So I get a ton of one-on-one time with the teachers, and it's an art school, so it has a lot of options for me that I didn't think I would take advantage of. I do ceramics just as like a hobby, and that's really fun. I worked at the fabrication lab, which has laser cutters and 3D printers, so I was able to learn how to run all of those, and that's pretty cool. So I liked that it was small and that it had a bunch of opportunity and stuff that I had no idea about.
Yeah, I tend to like that a little bit more. Like I like main campus because it's like there's a lot going on. But I started off at Newark, and I kind of like the smaller classroom atmosphere a lot because it forced you to be on top a lot more. Because it's like you can be called on at any moment. It's like when you're in a big classroom, like you can just be goofing around or whatever on your tablet.
Right.
So it just forces you to be on it more. But I understand.
Well, and like even in high school, I loved classes that forced you to have a conversation. Like they bring up a big topic and it's like talk about it, deal with it. I loved my psychology classes that I've had for that, where we were able to have a conversation about that. I just don't think a 300 kid lecture hall can do. I just don't think it's the same experience.
What in that sort of way, like kind of transitioning from that, because your freshman and sophomore year, even junior year, it was a lot more kind of hands on, especially with your major. So how is transitioning to a primarily online kind of thing been treating you? Have you been being able to get through it, or is it kind of been a lot harder to switch over from that sort of thing? Can you still do most of your projects primarily from home?
I miss it terribly. I miss being on campus. I would say the transition in March was much worse than what I'm currently doing.
Mhm.
Currently, I'm working on my senior thesis, which is primarily, self-involved. I don't have to work with other people for this.
Right.
But when we transitioned in March, I was in big group things, and we had to try to work as a group distantly, and that was really hard. Um, I miss my classmates. I give them a hard time, and they get on my nerves a lot because I see so many of them for like I had classes with the same people, and I had 4 different classes with them. Um, but like I didn't realize how much I would miss them, and I miss them a lot. It's kind of like how when your brothers or your cousins annoy you, it's like, yeah, you piss me off, but like when you're gone, I miss you.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right. So
So
I guess also I forgot to mention it. What kind of jobs are you looking for from your major? Like, for the people that don't know what industrial design is, what does that entail for you? Like, what would you like to do once you get out of college?
well, there's a lot of options depending on what direction I want to go to. If I wanted to do design research, I could do that pretty much anywhere. They have that at like, Huntington. They have that at big product brands like Nike. I could do that there. Um, there's a couple smaller design consultancies that I think I would rather go to. Things that do consumer product. Design Central is a big one in Columbus that I think would be really cool. Priority Designs is around here. Um, Lextant is a research consultancy, so they basically companies come to them and then they do user research. I think that would be really cool. Um, I guess if I like could do anything, I would do something where I could do research in the beginning stages of design.
Mhm.
So like the sketching and like maybe introductory CAD. I'm not as proficient in building and like construction, like woodwork kind of thing. That's just not my forte.
Right.
So like if I could do the research, start the introductory sketches, and then like hand it off at like a consultancy, that would be great. That would work for me. I also don't want to sit around 3D modeling all day. It's not my...
So you like want to focus on more of the user end rather than the manufacturing end. Okay.
Yeah. one thing that I love about industrial design is it gives the opportunity to talk to users. I don't want to just make more stuff, make more plastic things. I want it to be I talked to, some old woman and she's having trouble with this, and so I can design a product that will help with that. That's my focus.
For sure.
Very helpful. Game, you got a question?
Yes. Well, more of a this is kind of switching the topic, but what would you say is the highest point in your career so far? What's a very high moment?
Ooh, that's a good question. I had an internship this summer. I can't say with what company because I'm under NDAs with that.
Yeah.
But I guess a high point was, being chosen to work on the project, and actually because it was like a year-long project, and kind of seeing where it was going and being confident enough that I could hand it off to the next group and be confident that it'll continue working on it and it'll be really good. For this, I was able to, talk to a lot of the users who are just like, hey, I'm having this big problem and I don't know what to do. I don't have any options for it. And being able to, comfort them and hear their stories. I can talk about that it is with a lot of elderly. So it was a lot of, if you let them talk, elderly people will just tell you the best, most amazing stories. And that was a big high point for me, I think. And definitely solidified my career and what I wanted to do.
I feel like you found what you wanted to do. That's always a good feeling. Well, then, leading off from that, what would you say is the lowest point in your career so far?
I would say sophomore year, just about around then. There was a lot of questioning of am I in the right place? It's mostly my own, enemies, my own thoughts, kind of because industrial design is 80% male. And so I have had to deal with a little bit of, getting talked over and getting interrupted, having my opinions not taken, and that wasn't a thing in high school because Hartley has a 60-40 female to male.
Right.
So being one of the two girls in the class, I had never experienced that before. And there's just a ton of I didn't. And at that point, we were doing a lot of the more wood shop stuff, the very hyper masculine, hyper dude, the car boy kind of person. I did that a lot, and I didn't see anyone that looked like me in the field. I didn't see any women in the field, and I was I don't really know if this is the place for me or if this is going to work. So I would say I'm past that, but that was a definite hard semester, at least.
How did you get past that? What would you say?
So I actually had my first female industrial design teacher in junior year, and just getting to talk to her, and she was I graduated in 2008. These have been my experiences. This is what I've dealt with. It was so life-changing, because it was the guys in my class were well, why do you care if you have a girl teacher? And I was because you've had a male teacher this whole way through. And, I love my male teachers, but I can't relate to them in the same way that I could her. And, I was feeling less alone, which was great. That it was
I think sophomore is a turning point for a lot of people because your freshman year is fresh, is starting a new chapter, so you don't really feel it. But once you get that first year under your belt, then your second year, you kind of all right, do I want to do this or do I want to stop? So
yeah, that's what everybody been telling me.
That. Yeah, that's what it is, man. It's the truth. So if you had a piece of advice for someone wanting to go into your field, what would you recommend?
Reach out to alumni, reach out to graduates. Know that a lot of the frustrations are temporary. If you don't like your classmates or if you don't like the situation you're in, it will not be your permanent situation. Work hard, write everything down, take pictures of everything. No, seriously, for something like design, the process is really
you kind of
you can't just have a thing, you have to have the whole why did you get there what did you do? Um, yeah. But with that, I think it's just as important to have days off as it is to have days in the studio,
Mm-hmm.
like mentally for yourself, and that you need to put yourself and your dreams ahead of everything else, ahead of school, ahead of family, ahead of friends. You need to be first.
For sure.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that's
I just had another question. My bad. I didn't mean
no,
to interrupt
no,
you. You
you're
got something to
fine.
say? I was gonna say I seen something on Twitter. It was like being at home, like for school. It feels like you're not doing enough, but you may really be doing enough. Like, do y'all feel that a little bit? Like being
Yes.
at home doing online, it's like
Man,
you're doing what you need to do, but you feel like you're not doing enough. Like,
yeah,
yeah,
that's me every day.
yeah, for real.
When I definitely think it's like you're not mentally in the headspace of where your normal study environment is, and that everyone forgets that since everyone's dealing with it, it's not that bad. But it's like we're all dealing with our own things right now. I think everyone just needs to remember to treat themselves with kindness. Like,
Mhm.
hey, if you needed that day off to just lay in bed and watch TV so you can be productive later, like that's very important, and you should do that.
Right.
Which
Me
days are
and me and her were talking about it the other day too, which is just like it's so hard for a lot of people because they come from a place where teachers and things like that are kind of cramming deadlines in your face constantly, and it's always a matter of like your teacher is always on your back, whether you like it or not. There's always somebody like, hey, this has to be done by then, you have to do this isn't good enough, this isn't. But now it's kind of like your teachers are just there on the side. It's like, here, you have this due Friday. This is how you do it. Go off, and then
Right.
like
Yeah,
it's
for
your
real.
decision on whether or not you want to do that, and there's no one telling you what to do. And I think that's a really hard transition, especially for kids that are younger than us. We're all kind of at the stage where it's like we're doing things for ourselves. We're thinking about what we're going to do after college, how we're going to make money. But kids in high school and middle school are like, whoa, I'm still learning these things.
yeah.
But
Uh, I can like someone like me with ADHD. This has been nothing but a challenge for me. I've been just thinking about maybe taking a gap year, like waiting for those all to sort out because the accommodations that I get pre-COVID versus now is nothing of the same variety.
right,
It's a lot of more one-on-one help, a lot more uh like I can get extra time like for tests and things like that. But I benefit a lot from the structure of saying I'm going to school at 8 o'clock. I'm going to be there from 8 to whenever, and that's school time. I gain a lot from this, and just having that gone, it's been rough. It's been a
yeah,
tough adjustment. And like I like what you said about the younger kids, because like back in high school, if I had the chance to goof off in class,
yeah,
you
right,
know,
right,
that's what you're gonna
exactly,
do.
right. That's the
So
option you're gonna take.
yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
no,
So
I feel you on that because like I only had half a semester to be on main campus, but like when I was there, I was like, okay, I need to do this, that, and the third. Like, there's
hmm
no, but me being home, I'm like, I could sleep through my alarm and like I wake up and be like, I don't care. The teacher's not talking about nothing, which they aren't right now. So
Right.
yeah,
Also, like really benefited from being around other people who are working.
mm-hmm,
Like
hmm
I had a couple like friends who I knew, like if I went in, I knew that Matthew and Aaron were going to be there and that we could all work on this project. Even if it's not together, it's like separate. Okay, they're also working hard. I need to be working hard. It's much harder to be self-motivated by yourself.
Right.
right. Yeah, that's true. I'm a competitive person, so I definitely feed off of that too. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, let's change topic to something a little more lighthearted, I guess.
yeah. So hold on. So let's see. Of course, y'all two met at Hartley, right?
Yeah.
But do you guys remember the exact day and how everything went that you guys started dating? Well, how did it lead up to this?
Do you want to explain it or do you want me to?
I can't remember like the exact like moment or anything. Like this isn't a Hallmark movie, but we met during the show of Oklahoma, and we were both like ensemble for it, and we had a mutual friend that were friends, and it's like, oh, you should talk to Josh, he's cool or whatever. And we met during that show, which was in the spring. We hung out a whole bunch in the summer, not dating, and then like as a group, and then we started dating that December.
Yeah. It was pretty big too, because that was a really big turning point in our lives, because we had a really close friend group that was like, inseparable, and everybody was like, nobody was really dating each other or anything like that, but everybody didn't really have boundaries. You could come up and hug the girls that were in the group, mess around with them. Nobody really.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So then when we started dating, it really put I don't know how it happened, but somehow we created a rift in this friend group. Like all of a sudden, like we weren't fun anymore, because we were hanging out, and like everybody was pissed at us because we go on dates and they wouldn't be there, and we're like, what the fuck, we're dating?
Yeah, you want to sit around while
Right, exactly. And we
to be the boop over.
we still tried to make it work, but I mean, like it just got so toxic, man, and it was so bad, and but yeah, we hung out constantly. I mean, like after we became like good friends, we would kind of just go away from the group in general just to hang out because we were bored.
We talked on the phone a lot too.
Yeah, we texted a lot. We texted every day, and we emailed every day at school. So yeah, it was like a year leading up to it, and then like when we started dating, it was like we were kind of past all this like, oh, let's get to know each other, or anything like that, because we were like,
I already friends before,
right? Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, rest is history.
So who asked who out, or was it
I was
mutual?
gonna say that.
It was pretty mutual, I'd say. I mean, like we I'll tell it. I mean, like we hung out one day, and we were in my room or whatever, and we just had like a movie playing or whatever, and we were just chilling, hanging out. And like the first night, it got kind of close. Like I was like, I like this girl,
Yeah, you started having feelings.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
And then like I took her home that night, and I was like, shit, man. I was like, I really fucked up. I should have done something, and then I was like, hey, let's hang out, like, it's like a week later or something like that. And we went to like the North Market, and we had lunch, and then we did the same thing and came back, and we just ended up kissing, And so like no one really said anything. It just kind of fucking happened.
That happened.
And then
it got to the point where my dad was like, are you gonna date this boy, or are you gonna leave him alone, because that's not very nice? And I was like, I'm working on it, give me a sec.
Okay, I got one last question that y'all took in.
Yeah.
So were you waiting on him to say something? Were you just like sitting there waiting, like, you gonna ask me, or
I don't know, I was concerned about like what ended up happening, which was the friend group breaking up. And I was, it was senior year, so I was like, do I want to get in a relationship, or did I want to put myself out there? So I kind of was waiting on him a little bit. And
damn, true. Good thing
There
I
you
did
go,
something,
God.
huh? God, I could have made a really big mistake. Yeah, that will have to be another time. Maybe next time you come on, because that's a really big whole fucking mess. That whole story. But yeah, that was. So I don't know. That was a pretty interesting thing.
That's adorable. Tyrell, Ken, what y'all got for him?
That's all right. What you got, dog?
I was gonna ask you that. Y'all love each other? I'm just playing. I'm just playing.
Well, I mean, we've been together for for something years, but kinda. I don't know.
You guys
hate
know.
On each other just a little
Yeah,
bit.
right. Exactly. What's the fun if you don't make fun of somebody? Always keeping people on edge.
All right, Josh. Well, actually, I got a question for both of y'all. If it's not too, personal, when y'all knew that this is gonna be something special? When you knew, like, when you get that feeling at that moment?
Good question.
Probably
let's
after, I'd say after like the first 2 months.
Really?
I want to say we were, like I said, this came from a year worth of friendship, and like I feel like we both made it pretty clear to each other that we're like, this isn't like, we're not flinging, we aren't those kind of people. Like, this was my first real relationship outside of like a couple of other girls, like some other time, you know, but I mean, like, none of them felt like this sort of thing, you know. So after like the second month, I was like, oh, this girl's really cool. I really like hanging out with her just as a friend. So, you know, we can keep going. I guess, yeah, like I said, you know, you still figure, I still figure things about Katie, you know, that like she figures stuff about me every time we talk to each other sometimes, you know, or like things we dislike and things we like, and it just kind of starts adding to it. But yeah, I feel like it was pretty early on.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I definitely think, you know, especially it was definitely early on, and then it was like solidified, you know, when I was thinking about where I wanted to go to college, and I was like, I don't want to go somewhere really far. Like, I didn't want to do long distance. I wouldn't say that it was like the defining factor or anything, but it was like if I went to this really great college, I could stay in Columbus and then, you know, stay with Josh.
I was really into that idea too. She wanted to go to Cleveland at first, and I was like, don't do that. Don't do that. I don't want to drive. I was like, I'll make the drive if you really want to go. Like, I'm not going to put your life on hold for that. But
Yeah.
But yeah, she got a bigger scholarship for CCAD anyway.
So it all worked out.
It all worked out.
Yeah, it all worked out. Man, Tyrell, you got something, man, or you just learning?
so I ain't talking no more.
Right, I'll be like that.
Man,
I got something for you, Kate. We'll go back into a little bit of your school
absolutely.
life.
So what was I about to say? So what advice do y'all have? I know, of course, you know, every couple, you know, had a little arguments or whatever. Nothing really big. What advice do you guys have for young couples out there?
Go ahead, Kate.
Good question. Nothing is ever worth it to keep it from the other person. Like, no matter what it is, no matter if you're embarrassed about something, no, it's not. I don't, you know, it's just like communicate. It's the most obvious thing. It's like if you're upset about something, tell them. Like, I deal with this with friends. If one of my friends is pissed at me and has been pissed at me about things for like a week, it's like, how am I supposed to know so I can like fix that if you don't tell me? So yeah, treat your relationships like that.
Yeah, I agree with that. I really think that was a big thing that we started off really. I started really trying to say that really often. Like, you know, we honestly, like, the fights that I can remember her and I having, I can remember like 3 in the 4 years that we've been dating, you know. So it's like we're pretty go with the flow kind of people, but it was just really like, if you don't like something that I'm doing or something needs to change for me, just tell me. Like, it doesn't offend me, it doesn't hurt my feelings, but if I keep doing this and you hate it that much, it's not worth it. And then it's gonna ruin us for no reason. And then you're just gonna sit there and it's gonna build and build and build until you're ready to just explode. And then I do it one more time and she's like, why the fuck are you doing this? And I'm like, I didn't even know. You know. So yeah, that it's important to remember that you're both human beings. You know, no person should go without knowing what their supposed best friend is doing, you know, or thinking, you know. And that goes without saying for everything, but I still feel like that should be common sense.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like if you're going to get into a long-term relationship with somebody, that has to be the ground of it.
I also think it's like, you know, communicate how you're feeling too. Like, if I've texted Joshua, it's like, you know, we're going to hang out. It's like, hey, you know, I'm really stressed about this thing going on. So like, if I snap at you or something, I'm sorry, call me out for it, you know. Yeah. Which he's really good about being like, hey, you're pissed at your class, you're not pissed at me, you know, right. Snap at me. Which he's usually right on that one. But it's like, that's important to know so that, you know, you go in, it's not like, whoa, why are they being really mad at me? And it's like, usually mad about something else and you're like feeding into it for other people. So
I'm going to write that down. I was learning something new.
Yeah, and Josh, wrong answer. The woman is always right. I learned that.
No, it doesn't happen that way. It doesn't have to happen that way.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you. I ain't seen it work another way.
Look.
Let me you know you are not beating a woman in an argument.
Let me give you all a piece of advice that you can leave here with. This is from Sensei Josh, okay? When you get into an argument with your significant other, you are not fighting to be right. You are fighting to get your point across. You don't have to be right in the argument. You have to get your partner to understand why you are feeling that way. You could be wrong. You could be wrong for feeling that way, but you are supposed to listen to that. If you truly and honestly feel that what you did wasn't that bad, you should at least give your significant other the ability to talk to you about it. But that goes for both parties. You know, you should never, ever tell your significant other something and then not let them speak and just walk away from the argument like it's over. You know, whether it's male or female, male and male, female and female, it doesn't matter. You know, it has to be both of you listening to each other. And it always comes back to that, you know. Fights end so much quicker if you're like, you know what? You're right. I'm sorry. I understand. You know, I may not think that way. You know, no, it's not between it. It's your girl, your boy needs to learn that they can be in the fault at some point. You know, if she went out and she slept with like 4 other guys in a night, and then like she came up and she was like, "Why is that a problem?" And it's like, well, I can't be right because I'm the guy. And it's like, wait, no, that's not how it works.
Yeah. No.
That's a good example. I'm glad you said that. You got caught up.
I wasn't talking about nothing. I'm talking about the little petty stuff. Yeah. I need to have my girl on here to hear that because
I'm not gonna say anything that's gonna create bad blood.
She's not gonna stop. Until I quit.
I was gonna say
that's how it happened.
Sometimes it's better to be the bigger person too, you know.
Absolutely.
And just
for like you both to be right or you both to be wrong. Like
true.
A lot of time, how you're feeling about something, like your feelings are valid, but you know maybe they just differ from somebody else, and that's okay. You know, sometimes you just got to meet in the middle and be like, okay, and then move past it.
Yep.
Be like, is it worth being upset about? Usually, it's not.
To my girlfriend that's watching, I love you. I'm sorry. All right, man. What other questions we got for her, man? What has been your best semester so far?
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
So far, I had so it's funny because it's like it was right after my worst semester. Because I would say worst semester was fall and of sophomore year. Best semester was spring of sophomore year, and it's because I was able to look up to a couple seniors that I was working with and learn from them, and that just really like helped validate how I was feeling about like school and industrial design, because I was looking at switching to graphic for a bit, and then it was like you could do that and that's fine, but like really look at the reasons why you're looking at switching and realize that they're for, you know, personal relationships and not what you want to do. And so I would say spring of sophomore year was just a really good semester. I had a really good team that I was working with. I think the people around you can make or break a semester. I've had semesters be horrible because of that reason, and I've had them be spectacular for that reason. So definitely then.
We never got to discuss it, but I'll go back a little bit. How did your parents take it when you were like, this is what I want to do? Because we all know that any art degree, mine included, is hard to get into. It's hard to make money for these things, you know, and parents usually don't want that for their kids, you know, or something like that. Were your parents cool with it? Did they try to fight you on it and then kind of give in, or, you know, what was that like?
My parents have always been great about it, actually. I've had an interest in art since I was, you know, teeny tiny, 3 years old kind of thing. And so it didn't exactly like surprise them. Especially because as soon as I started showing interest in that, they supported it. They paid for me to take art classes to do this and to work on myself to do this, you know, summer program that I did. For a bit, I talked about being like illustration/fashion. And my dad was like, okay, you can do this. I won't stop you, but maybe reconsider because the job market for it isn't great.
Right.
And, you know, so then we looked at other options. It's like I didn't have to drop art completely. I could, you know, I found product design and I loved that just the same. And so they've always been great about it. But My family has also been super into like art museums and culture and architecture, and so I would have been shocked if they didn't like it or support it. So, yeah, it was great. They always have been.
Could you give any advice to anybody who would be out there, whether or not it's in arts or anything like that, that would, if their family's kind of fighting them on something like that, or, them wanting to drop out even or something like that, and just making decisions on their own? Do you have any advice for people like that?
So if, a couple things. If they're arguing with their parents or if they're thinking about dropping out, the thing with college is you're doing it for yourself. It is an investment in you. Your family can disagree, your, relationships can think it's not the right path for you, but at the end of the day, that decision is on you. And so if that's what you really want to be doing, then you should do it. If that's what you feel like your calling is doing, but you should do it. And if you're dropping out, really ask yourself why. Is it because you're tired? Are you burned out? That's going to happen no matter what you do. That's not going to end with you dropping out. But if you look at it, it's like, investment in yourself. Finish through what you started. Finish what you start, and you will get somewhere. So.
That's good.
I had one thing to say. I don't mean to take over your interview, but I know a lot of people who've like taken a break from school, or they figure like school is just not for me. Like after they've been there, I understand that like school is not for everybody, but I think sometimes people forget like it's just going to be tough sometimes. Just because it's tough just 1 minute, don't mean you got to drop everything you're doing.
Yeah.
Like school wise, I think that has to be learned a little bit because, like I said, school isn't for everybody. You could get in there and be like, man, maybe this ain't for me. But just because you're having a rough time now, you should probably try and battle through it a little bit. A little bit of adversity never hurt anybody. So
yeah. And take it from me. I mean, like my whole high school career, I was a horrible student. I was terrible. I mean, I went to summer school my sophomore year. I barely passed some of my classes, and it's just like I struggled through it. And like I thought a lot about it before I went to college. When we did my interview, it was like, do I want to just work? And it's like that path does not give you any breaks at all. I mean, like you're working for the rest of your life, to make money. And like hopefully you'll get to a good point in that. But school isn't just about learning stupid shit that you'll never use again. We can sit here talk all day about, oh, this history class I won't need anything. Oh, this science class I won't need anything. This math class, But school is teaching you a social construct. It's teaching you how to be a person. It's giving you that life lesson. You can see it anytime you go somewhere. You can see when somebody's not educated, and it doesn't necessarily have to be in a bad way, but it's like they don't really know how to act as well. And, people act out and that sort of thing. It's important to realize that like school can help with that. It doesn't always have to be about the grades, and it doesn't have to be about where am I going to go? What am I going to do? It's like you're getting experiences that you need for the rest of your life. The talking to teachers, turning in papers, using correct grammar. That's all stuff that you're never going to get rid of. It's never going to go away no matter where you go, unless if you're going to work in construction and just use a jackhammer all day, something like that. But even then, like you need some math for that. You need school for these things, and again, I'm a prime example of somebody who is like, fuck school. I don't need it. I can just work. I can get a job here. I can get a job there that'll pay me decent money. But like, do I really want to do that? Am I going to love myself for this, or am I going to hate myself every day? But yeah, like I said, that's just my advice for somebody who's thinking about that sort of thing. Just if it's really not for you, I wish you the best of luck. I hope that, you can find a place and you can find a job that suits you well, but just give it a chance. Just work as hard as you can. And then if you hate it, you don't have to go to college. No one's forcing you to do that.
Right.
Mm-hmm. I think too, like even, if you look at your class schedule and it's like, oh, what could psychology do for me? Who cares about that? Or, why would I want to take art history that has nothing to do with what I'm doing? Find a way to make it apply to yourself. There is a way. There is an importance in everything that you learn. And even if it's not for your major, maybe it's for your personal life, maybe it's for just your work life, everything is related somehow. And that will make it so much easier to like motivate yourself to do it. Because it's like, oh, well, I don't really want to study for this test, but it's like, but then I'll learn it and then I'll know it and that'll make me a better person or that'll make me a better, whatever.
Mhm.
So
And sometimes too, like the teacher or professor can make it better. Like, what class did I take? I took physics my freshman year, and I hated the class like because it was difficult, but like the teacher was entertaining. He made it relatable, and like he was a cool dude. So like it made the class that much better. Like even though that was my hardest class, I enjoyed going to that class compared
Right.
to a class that was easy, but the teacher wasn't doing anything. So
Right.
yep, teachers make or break a class. I had
Yeah.
a class that was a very specific like time for art history, and it was like, the 1400s or whatever, and you're like, oh, that's gonna be boring. But this teacher was so energized and so excited and knew such really weird anecdotes. She'd talk about like artists and be like, yeah, this person slept with his brothers, sisters, whatever, whatever, and you're like, whoa, how do you know that? And and it helped with you with the test because it's like, I remember that guy who's really weird. And so I think teachers make or break the class for sure.
absolutely, Josh, was that your dad in the back?
Yeah, it's fucking laughing his ass off out in the kitchen. Sorry for everybody that doesn't realize Katie's just in our bedroom right now. So
Yep, couldn't be in my apartment, so I'm here.
yeah, right, exactly. We got all kinds of COVID cases popping up here and there. Nowhere is safe.
Nope.
All right, let's do some more lighthearted questions. We talked enough about school. What's your trying to think. Oh, well, shit. Like we talked about a couple episodes ago. If someone came to Columbus that had never been here before, what's the first place that you take them? And don't say
Okay.
Bob Evans.
Don't worry about it. We already got that covered.
When we get a sponsorship, bro, we okay him.
All I want is a sponsored Bob Evans hat. That's it. That ain't too much.
I guess it depends. Like, what time of year is it?
Whatever suits you best.
Let's just say it's like summertime or fall
Yeah,
or something.
where
Something simple.
everywhere's open.
Okay. So
Fuck up. Oh my god.
I swear that man. But, North Market for sure. Like North Market is a great, So I'd take him to North Market because there's so many different food places. It's just really cool place to be. Short North, I think is pretty cool. It's not big on my list because it's kind of gentrified now in a way that it wasn't 10 years ago. Then also Schiller Park has plays in the summer that are free, and I think that would be a really cool like place to bring someone. I guess what I am connected to is like the arts and culture of Columbus. There's a whole bunch. If it's winter time, obviously Blue Jackets game, clearly.
True.
I gotta go to a Blue Jacket.
Yes, you do, and we'll take you.
Open it up again. I miss so bad.
I want to see the Clippers too, the baseball team. I've been to one, but I was like with my dad and stuff, so and I was like,
Clippers are great because they're not that expensive, so you can go and be like
Dime a Dog Night.
Dime a Dog.
I love Dime a Dog Night.
Her games are pretty fun too. Those are good ones. I don't know. I feel like we're not known for sports, but we've got some like fun sport events to go to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's a free game, young men out there. If you got a lady interested in art museum, free on Sunday.
True.
Pockets is a little tight. You
Sundays.
go like the art museum on Sunday.
Yeah, it's really crowded on Sundays, so get there early.
It is cool though. It's a cool place to go. I like it.
Absolutely.
You can see CCAD's campus.
Exactly, right there.
Right.
Technically not part of our campus, but like it kind of is.
It's right across the street. It's fine.
It counts.
Yeah, right.
The Columbus Zoo too. That's a good one. Or like Zumbizi Bay. That's fun.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Zumbizi Bay.
Dang, I went there in a minute.
Yeah, I had a friend who like every year her family gets the passes, and so I would go on the like bring your friend day, where it's like really cheap, and we go and just float around the lazy river for 3 hours. It's great.
Like that's the best part. I don't know. I get so paranoid about water parks now ever since I've seen that episode of South Park. Where all the kids, like, in the pool.
Yeah, right. They put enough chlorine in there. It should die away. It should be all right. Right?
It's just me being ignorant.
That's why if you go to Zumbizi Bay, you just go to the 21 and up lazy river, and then you're good.
Yep.
And you don't have to deal with the children's.
Yeah, I'm not 21, but one day.
Couple more months.
Yeah, I'd say a couple more months and we'll be there.
Right there with you.
What's your birthday, Cam? Dude, everybody's always fucking older than me.
Man, my shit is in July. I gotta wait till July
to be 21.
Next week.
Really? Okay, I'm older than you. Let's go.
I was always the youngest one, bro.
Oh yeah, that's true. I remember that.
That's wild.
Let's get. We've been going good here. We're at 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Let's get a couple.
You know
more
her best, man. Ask her some. Hey, we need Tyrell to ask up, man. He just be learning all the time, man.
Okay, Tyrell, you got a question? Anything. It's an open book.
All right. What's the color of your bed? See, I don't know. I'm asking random questions. Y'all ask all the good questions. Y'all selfish.
Josh gonna fuck you up.
Not like that. Oh,
I'm just playing.
Oh, damn, my bad. I didn't think of that. Damn, my fault. My bad.
Oh, he's just playing, bro.
She's got 3 different beds. She's got one at her house, one at the apartment, and one at my house.
She's a baller.
Yeah,
she ain't never gonna be home with it. Man. Let's see, man.
I get what was it like going to St. Mary's? Because I think, did anybody else here go to St. Mary's?
No.
Yeah, well, I know you didn't. I know you didn't, Cam. I was just making sure. Yeah, what was it like going there? Was that, I mean, I know that a lot of stuff happened between St. Mary's and its staff and everything. I don't remember if you were there for that or not, but
I was. So I love St. Mary's. I went grades preschool through 8th grade, so my entire, pre-high school. I was there for a long time, which was great because I had my best friends were all within walking distance of my house, and so that was always great. But what Josh was talking about, the teacher thing. So when I was there, my 8th grade year, they announced to the teachers that they were firing 80% of them, and they announced this in December, but they still had to finish the year to June. So it was really great, except for that year, which was really bittersweet for a lot of reasons. But pre that year, we had the most amazing teachers, honestly, really cared about their students, really cared about their lives outside of school. I still keep up with a lot of them. I actually got dinner with my old librarian few months ago, but pre-COVID, and I keep up with them because they care about their students. So, but it was great. I loved it. I still talk to a lot of the same people. My graduating 8th grade class only had 20 people in it, so I still keep up with most of them, not all of them, but most of them.
Okay. Well, let us tell you about All Saints. Watery hot sauce, roaches, no grip on the basketball court.
Always fucking dusty, kids slipping everywhere.
Remember the pizza with the cube sausages on it?
Yes.
Yeah.
It tastes like cardboard straight up.
God.
Cube sausages?
Yeah, it was bad.
Yeah.
Cube pepperoni.
All
Sometimes they didn't even
Cube
give us that.
pepperonis.
God.
Yeah, our corn tasted like green
That was
beans,
terrible.
and and all our side, it was.
This is middle school.
Yeah.
Middle
This
school.
is
Uh,
Saints.
I mean, actually, I got lucky. I went to a new middle school.
What middle school did you go to?
Well, Rosemore, they built a new school for the middle school.
Okay.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So you got it lit. Yeah, no, man. We just got a dusty gym floor that was small.
Yep. Still dusty to this day. I
Yeah,
went
my
and
little
voted
brother
at All
goes there.
Saints. Yeah.
Yeah, my little brother goes to school there and he plays basketball and he be slipping all over the floors.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, ain't nothing changed.
On the floor for the assemblies. I never got that.
Yeah.
Katie,
Hey, I'm gonna tell you what, man. Mr. Hamilton, dude, he still looks the same. He just got a beard now.
I
My
know.
little
I
brother
saw
actually
that.
has him, and
Good for
it's
him,
funny.
man. He's trying his best. He's doing his
Yeah.
best work.
He been there for a minute, man.
I know
Hey,
he
man,
has.
I think Miss Lockhart is still there.
Really? I thought she was retiring. Well, just to end this off, Katie, do you mind if I ask you a semi-personal question about middle school?
Okay.
Just to just to give you, I know you know what I'm gonna ask you, but it's just to give a little advice because I think that some people that may watch this might need it at some point. If I know that you guys don't know this, but I'll keep it short. But Katie had a little bit of a bullying incident while she was at St. Mary's, and it led to a lot of people not talking to her, and a lot of her friends that she thought were friends not really being her friends as much. I wanted to ask you, like, how do you get through something like that, and advice that you could give to somebody who, it doesn't matter what grade, college, high school, middle school, what advice could you give to somebody who's going through that, where something is made up about them, or even if they did something that caused them to get bullied, how do you get through something like that?
Okay, goody.
I know it's a little bit dark-hearted for the last question, but I think it's important.
Yeah, as we're here for the seriousness.
Yeah.
Every once in a while.
Yeah, right.
It sucks, and the knowledge that it sucks, I guess, but it's not going to be forever. Even if it's if it's middle school, it could end that year and you could go somewhere else, or it could end in a few months and the people will forget and focus on something else. But do not allow it to dictate your life forever. Don't make any permanent decisions that will dictate your life, because you will severely regret them. But also, everything as an adult now seems so trivial, but at the time it is big and it sucks. But I don't know, rely on your family, rely on your friends, those that you still know. I always liked books a lot, so find something that you love to distract yourself with. I liked books because I could be somebody else, and that was really great. And so, if you want to be somewhere else or be somebody else, you can talk to someone. I also don't think there's any shame in, therapy if you have depression or anxiety. I think you're getting to a place where, like, people are realizing that it's like, okay, this is just kind of how I am, and that's all right. And, what you may be, like, ashamed or embarrassed about, like, you don't need to be. And that who you are is exactly who you need to be. You're exactly where you need to be. And you're exactly in your life process where you need to be. That, also, people don't grow at the same rate, So if you're like, oh, I'm really anxious because I don't think I should be, because I should be up here and I'm down here, like, you will get there. It will be fine. Things take time. And sometimes it feels like, you're really behind, but you're not. And it'll be fine. So everything will be okay. I know it's like a cheesy, but
right.
It will.
I also think it's important because the person obviously, will keep names out of it, but the person that did bully Katie in school is now a friend of hers, later on in life. So people can change. It's not, like she said, it's not a forever thing. It's just kids are immature. It happens. Like, I mean, we made fun of people all the time. I'm guilty of being a bully. I'm sure everybody else here has bullied somebody at some point. And everybody's like, oh, I regret it. It sucks. If you got bullied, you're like, oh, that sucks, But it's kind of like, you grow out of it. It ends up being something where it's like you can find your morals sometimes, And like, if that person never grows out of it, then good riddance to them. Who cares? You don't need them in your life.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was going to say. Oh, go ahead.
Well, it's just like on that one, like, if they, don't apologize, there is nothing wrong with cutting people out of your life. Like, I've learned as an adult, like, it's okay. It does not matter if it's family, if it's a friend that you've known for 10 years, if it's someone you've known for 2 months. If they're toxic and they're bad for you mentally, cut them out. Because
for sure.
There's no reason to keep someone around who's bringing you down. There really isn't. And it's like, just cut them off.
Yeah.
And you'll be so much happier when they're gone.
I was just gonna say, of course, like, bullying happens in, like, high school too, but probably not as extreme as, like, middle and elementary school. Kids are just ruthless, bro. Kids are just
yes, they are.
They're just ruthless. I mean, that's why it's kind of hard to say. You gotta move on. Which, I mean, at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. But it's just when at that young of an age, bro, kids are just so like some of the stuff they say is like, how do you even know anything about that? Like kids, they're just ruthless. It's just what it is at that age. Very immature, like you said, Josh. So
Yeah.
that's just one thing, man. So yeah.
Keep your heads up.
Shake it off.